If you've ever tried to bot Pokemon and you've walked away with absolutely nothing, there is a good chance that proxies were your problem. Proxies are one of the most misunderstood concepts when it comes to any bot setup. In this video, I'm breaking down every type of proxy that you need to know about, from ISPs to residentials to DCs. We're going to be talking about what they are, when to use them, where to buy them from, what they cost, and the cons to each of them. And by the end of this, you'll know exactly what to buy and why to buy it. So without further ado, let's get right into the breakdown. Before we break down the different types of proxies, let's talk about why we need to use proxies. When you run a bot, you are sending hundreds of requests in a very short amount of time. And if we don't use any proxies at all of them requests all come from one IP address. The retailers can see that themselves and they will almost ban you instantly. But when we use proxies, we essentially give each one of our bots tasks a different IP address. And this to the retailers looks like a completely different person in a completely different location, and that means more tasks running safely that are less likely to get banned, which ultimately equals more purchases from the bot itself. Core concept of proxies is just as simple as that. But obviously, there are many different types of proxies. So first of all, let's just jump straight into what are ISP proxies. They are the first type we are going to be looking at. So ISP proxies are essentially proxies that are hosted in data centers. But while they are hosted in data centers, they are routed through residential internet service providers. Basically someone like BT or EE or Sky, AT&T, or any other just internet provider out there that you would get home Wi-Fi for. So what this means for us is that they look like real homes with real residential internet connections, but they are as fast as data center proxies. So let's just go into the benefits. Number one massive benefit of an ISP proxy is that it is super duper fast. They are literally like in the top tier of the fastest proxies that you can get. They also look like the internet connection is coming from a residential home. They're obviously super stable, super reliable, because again, they're being hosted in data centers. Cons of ISP proxies of while they are super fast and they look super legit, they cost more than data center proxies or residential proxies. These proxies also work very similar to like how you would pay for an internet connection at home. You essentially are paying for that proxy for 1 month on like a monthly subscription. You essentially get a fixed IP address with these proxies. So if you buy 25 ISPs, each ISP will have its own IP address, so you will have 25 IP addresses, and for as long as you're paying for this monthly subscription for these proxies, the IP address will stay the same. Which leads me to our next point of when you should be using ISP proxies. ISP proxies are firstly always good to be using in cases where you don't want your IP address to change. For example, if you take Pokémon Center, if you're in the Pokémon Center queue, if you change IP address while you're in the queue, you're going to be kicked out. But now obviously the burning question, where do we get our ISP proxies from? Two of the best providers, one of them is called Aurum Proxies. These are a little bit more on the pricey side. You can get 25 ISPs on a monthly basis from these guys for about $45 or £40 per month. Another provider that is a decent bit cheaper than Aurum but are also really good ISP proxies is Byte Proxy. You can get them for around £32, so about $35, $36 for 25 ISPs on a monthly basis. So on average, you can realistically be looking at around $90 to $100 per month for around 50 of these ISP proxies. We now have data center proxies. These are proxies hosted in essentially commercial data centers, the actual same places that the ISP proxies are hosted, but instead of routing the traffic through an ISP provider, you just get the actual data center's IP address. Boiling that down into just core benefits, the main one is they are extremely fast, slightly faster than ISP proxies, because again, they skip that routing layer. They are also one of the cheapest options out there, very common across the internet. Some cons, obviously they are easily detected, so they only work on less protected sites. The costing works the exact same way as pretty much ISPs do. Again, you are basically renting the IP address for a month's period. Where you can get these from, again, Aurum Proxies. DCs cost around £25 a month for 25 DC proxies, so 25 different IP addresses. Another provider out there as well is another proxy provider called ISP Proxies, and you can buy 25 DCs from them for around £31 for a month. But anyway, moving on from there, we're going to talk about residential proxies. Residential proxies are proxies that are coming from real devices in real residential neighborhoods. They are essentially the hardest proxies to detect. But with that said, because they are actually coming from real devices, they are slower than ISPs and DCs by quite a margin. Their pricing is completely different to ISPs and DCs. Residential proxies are pay as you go. Instead of renting the IP address, you basically just pay for your usage. When you sign up to a residential proxy provider, you're essentially signing up to a big pool of proxies. They randomly assign you one of them IP addresses inside this pool. And the more you do on that proxy, the more websites you're botting, the more tasks you're running, plays into how much bandwidth you use. Like, think about it like downloading pictures, it all plays into how much data you are going to use. Before you know it, you could blast through 5 gigabytes or 10 gigabytes worth of data, no problem. But going into just the hardcore benefits of residential proxies, obviously number one mega benefit is they are the hardest to detect, they're the most likely to be unbanned, they are the most real looking IP addresses you can get out there. And even though ISPs are routed through residential service providers, they can still be detected by some websites, whereas residentials, again, completely remove that because it's actually coming from a residential device. The next massive benefit as well is you obviously get access to massive pools of proxies. Let's say there's a website where you needed 5,000 proxies to run this website. You needed your IP address constantly changing all the time. You needed your bot to have access to loads of different IP addresses because it's super duper strict. With ISPs, to get 5,000 IP addresses, it would be costing you an arm and a leg. With residential proxies, because you don't pay for the amount of proxies, you're paying for the data, you could get 5,000 residential proxies for literally £5. If you need lots of IP addresses, then residentials are your only real option. Another point with residential proxies as well is you can select how often you want the proxies to rotate IP address. You can select 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, whatever it may be, and the proxy will rotate IP address in them time frames. Cons for residential proxies, they are by far the most expensive type of proxies to run at scale. And when I mean at scale, I mean running a decent amount of tasks for a long period of time. It's going to use a lot of data. If you're running 50 tasks 24/7 for a whole month, that's going to absolutely blast through data, and that could be costing you into the hundreds of pounds or dollars. Another con, like I mentioned at the start, they are slower than ISPs and DCs. So if it's one of them websites where speed really matters, then again, they might be too slow to actually purchase products for you. Final con, and the hardest one to explain, is that the quality of residential proxies vary. And the reason for this, if you go out to a company like ISP Proxies or Aurum Proxies, they don't actually own the residential proxies that you're buying. They've gone out to another corporate company at the likes of NetNut or Oxy Labs, the people who actually own the proxy pools. And a lot of these companies out there that are selling botting proxies are just reselling proxies. And when they market their proxies on their website, they don't tell you where them proxies are actually from. There's a chance that you could go to one provider and you bought NetNut proxies unwillingly. You're trying to use them to bot the website. You think they're total garbage. They're not working at all. Then you go to another residential proxy provider. You could end up with NetNut again. And again, they would be totally garbage. And that is why when you go on these guys' websites and you see they've got basic plan, elite plan, private plan, mobile proxies, the difference in them plans is the actual difference in what pool of proxies you are buying, and it can be very hard to decipher which ones you are actually buying. But anyway, back to the burning question of like proxy providers out there that you can use. One of my favorite proxy providers out there for residential proxies is a website called ISP Proxies. They essentially sell 1 gigabyte of private plan V2 for about £2.50. Going on to Aurum Proxies, they sell residential proxies as well. If you go for a premium residential on Aurum, you can buy 5 gigabytes for about £25, so it works out about 1 gigabyte for £5. So again, double the cost. They're both two pretty good residential proxies out there that are quite high quality and are likely unbanned on a lot of websites. So they are the 3 types of proxies out there that are getting used across the board to bot Pokemon. But just a little bit about what proxies you should use on different websites at the moment. So when it comes to Pokemon Center, you either want to be using ISPs or DCs. Personally, I'd be recommending ISPs on Pokemon Center. Again, it comes down to that fact that you don't want your IP address to change through the queue. Even though I mentioned on residentials, you sometimes have the session time. It's not very reliable. Websites that have a CAMI, which is a type of anti-bot, on them websites, you want to be using residential proxies because of one, they are pretty strict on what IP addresses they let through. Other websites, like websites that are protected like by Cloudflare, which is like Curry's, for them websites, you can usually run ISPs on there, no problem. But with that said, the botting game is constantly changes, so these recommendations might be completely outdated in 2 weeks' time, 1 month time, whatever it may be. One of the best things I can recommend is just actually trial and error, using ISPs and DCs where you need to run for a long time and you need speed. Residential proxies are really hard to make work over a long period of time, so you got to take a lot of them things into account. But anyway, that is every type of proxy you need to know about when it comes to actually botting Pokemon. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see people doing out there in the whole wide world is they go for cheap, bad quality proxies. They might go buy 100 DCs when they didn't need 100 DCs. They get detected, they get flagged, or they're trying to run a website for 3 months at a time on residential proxies and they're just wondering why it's so expensive and they're thinking in their head, this doesn't work. So now you know when to use them, benefits, cons of all of them, some good providers out there that we recommend. And if you do have any other questions about botting or you have any ideas for things that you'd like to see in these videos, then drop a comment below and I'll do my best to get them made.